Let's be real. Generative AI is changing everything. It's revolutionizing how we work, how we create. It feels like we're unlocking new superpowers every single day. But you know the old saying, with great power comes a whole new set of problems.
And that's the catch, right? This incredible transformation is also swinging the door wide open to a new class of security risks that, honestly, we're just starting to wrap our heads around. It turns out the very thing that makes these AI models so powerful, their flexibility, is also their biggest weakness.
Okay, so let's get into it. The main security problem we're seeing with these large language models, or LLMs, is actually a super clever twist on a classic cyber attack. It's an old trick, just wearing a brand new disguise.
It's called prompt injection. Now, if you've ever dealt with web security, that might sound a lot like SQL injection. And you'd be right. But here's the twist. Instead of using malicious code, attackers are just using plain old English to confuse the AI, basically tricking it into forgetting its real job and following their orders instead.
And this attack really comes in two main flavors. You've got direct prompt injection, which is pretty straightforward. The bad guy just types a malicious command right into the chat. But the other one, indirect prompt injection, that's where things get really dangerous. The malicious instructions are hidden away inside a web page or an email or even a document that you just ask the AI to summarize for you. The model reads the data and boom, it unknowingly runs the hidden command.
So what's the damage? What actually happens when one of these attacks works? Well, the most immediate danger is something called data exfiltration. And that's just a fancy way of saying your sensitive information gets stolen, the very data you trusted the AI with.
And this can be unbelievably sneaky. Get this. Microsoft's security team explains how a bad prompt can tell the LLM to bundle up your data and send it back to the attacker's server by hiding it in the URL of a tiny invisible image. Your browser tries to load the picture, and just like that, your data is gone. You didn't click anything, you didn't see anything, it's just gone.
But stealing your data is just the beginning. The threat level really skyrockets when attackers can trick the AI into taking actions for you, turning your helpful little assistant into their personal puppet.
Imagine this scenario. An LLM that's connected to your email gets tricked. It then sends a perfectly crafted phishing email to everyone in your department. And because it's coming from your legitimate account, it sails right past all the normal security filters that are designed to catch this stuff. And look, this isn't just some theoretical sci-fi movie plot. These threats have real, tangible financial consequences, especially when an AI hallucinates or just plain makes stuff up, either on its own or because it's being manipulated. This literally happened. A Canadian airline had a chatbot that was tricked into inventing a fake bereavement refund policy for a customer. The customer took a screenshot, the case went to court, and the airline was legally forced to pay up on the policy its AI just invented. It's a wild story, and it sets a huge precedent. Okay, so that's the scary part. How in the world do we fight back against this? Well, the solution actually starts by flipping the script, by adopting an offensive mindset and learning to think exactly like a hacker. This whole practice is known as red teaming. The idea is, instead of just sitting back and waiting for an attack, you proactively attack your own AI models. You find the holes and patch them up before the bad guys even know they're there. You gotta beat them to the punch. And it's really a simple but powerful cycle. First, you attack the model with every sneaky prompt you can think of. Then, you evaluate its responses to see if you broke through. Step 3, you measure its overall vulnerability. And finally, you use everything you've learned to adapt and strengthen its defenses. And then, you start the whole process over again.
But look, a great offense is only one side of the coin, right? You also need a rock-solid defensive strategy to go with it. This concept is called defense in depth.
Microsoft actually has a fantastic framework for this, and it's built on 3 simple layers. First, prevent attacks from ever happening. Second, detect any that somehow manage to sneak past your first wall. And third, mitigate the damage if an attack does succeed. Think of these as the playbook for the actual tools we're about to look at. All right, enough with the theory. What does this defense actually look like in the real world? Let's open up the AI security toolbox. So, the first big problem for pretty much every company out there is something called shadow AI. This is what happens when your employees, all with good intentions, start using tons of different consumer AI apps that the IT department has no idea about.
and that creates a massive, massive blind spot for data security.
And the scale of this problem is, well, it's kind of staggering. Tools like Microsoft Defender are already tracking over 1,000 different generative AI apps being used inside companies. That number isn't just big, it's a huge gaping hole in security. Getting visibility is step 1, 2, and 3 because you just can't protect against what you can't see. But once you can see everything, you can stop playing that endless game of whack-a-mole. You can finally set up automated policies. You can automatically block the apps that are too risky, while giving the green light to the ones you know are safe. This is what makes security manageable at a large scale.
And this isn't just about managing random apps off the internet. What about the tools you're building yourselves? For those, you have specialized tools like prompt shields that act like a real-time firewall for your AI, analyzing all the incoming prompts to spot and block injection attacks before they can do any harm.
Now here's the key that ties it all together. All of these different signals, from discovering new apps to blocking bad prompts, they all have to feed into one unified system. That single pane of glass is what lets your security team actually connect the dots and see the full story of an attack as it's happening. So as we bring this all together, it's pretty clear that securing our future with AI isn't about finding one single magic solution. It's about building a really smart, multi-layered strategy.
So if you only remember 3 things, make it these. First, AI security isn't just about building walls anymore. You have to have an offensive, think like a hacker mindset by using red teaming. Second, you have to back that up with a strong layered defense to prevent, detect, and mitigate attacks. And finally, none of it matters without visibility. You have to solve that shadow AI problem first.
And that leaves me with one last, kinda spooky question for you to chew on. Right now, we're focused on how humans can attack AI. But as more and more of the internet gets written by AI, what happens when these models start training on each other's flawed, biased, or just plain made-up data? Could the biggest threat in the future be the AI poisoning itself?